Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, Tuesday, February the 10th, 2026 at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. So we need the approval of the agenda and no late items. Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Cheong, all in favor. Thank you. And the adoption of some minutes, the regular open minutes of January the 27th. Councillor Bennett, Councillor Poturica, all in favor. Thank you. And first off, we have a report from the Desert Park Facility Structural Assessment, and that would be Director Davis is going to talk to this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before you is a report related to the structural assessment at Desert Park. Probably a couple of weeks ago, or more than a couple of weeks ago, we actually hired, before Christmas actually, RGC engineers to complete a structural assessment at Desert Park Recreation Complex. The report identified two different options with the estimated costs for each. During budget deliberations, Council approved $195,000 for this year for potential repairs. At that time, we didn't know what we were actually faced with until we had this report done. So now we're going to try to take a step forward with the report. In terms of the background, as said, the report presents two options. One is a near-term full renewal, and this would include the full replacement of the exterior walls, which would include the structural repairs, the gutters and downspouts, and there would be a need to extend the roof just because of the water infiltration on the walls. The other option would be near-term localized repairs with deferred full renewal. Basically, what that's saying is we would do a similar end result in 3 years, but for first year, we would spend approximately $140,000 to do the most upgrades. Part of the assessment included the opinions of probable cost. So with the option number one, as listed here, we were just under $1.8 million. And option two would be a little over $2 million, given the fact that we would have to spend the extra funding on the monitoring of the facility over the years and the increase of the costs to the repairs and possibly other items. So currently, the facility is used every day, Monday to Friday. A lot of pickleball. We have a couple of different groups. We were using it for Combat Academy as well. And we were using it for archery. Archery was part of our program planning that we would have weekly or as per our season or sessions. And basically, this was the extent of the facility. Desert Park Exhibition Society also uses the facility as a need be for some storage and also to hold meetings. In terms of some of the other factors that would affect the assessment in the building, one of the options would be over the 3-year term. In doing this, we would still have the increased liability and the increased cost if we were going to do with one of the options. Once the repairs are started, we may run into other issues, including rot, mold, etc. Most of the stuff that we did in terms of the structure was based on the 10 different areas that they focused on, trying to get a better picture of the facility. The hazardous materials inventory showed minor amounts of asbestos. That particular report was done in terms of our occupational health and safety factors for people working in the facility. So it didn't actually go into a deep dive in terms of those type of hazardous substances. And meeting if we do anything, whether a renovation or the full rebuild or demo, we would have to do a much deeper dive. And that could, incur more costs in terms of what we find. And that's pretty much what I said. So the options for discussion, that council directs administration to proceed with option number 1 and complete a full renewal, or that council directs administration to proceed with option number 2 and complete near-term localized repairs, or that council directs administration to prepare for the permanent closing and demolition of the facility, or that council does not do anything at this time. And the recommendation is to prepare for the permanent closing and demolition of Desert Park Recreation Complex based on the information prepared and supported here through the RJC's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. We appreciate all of the time and effort that has gone into putting these reports together. Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I know we keep pushing this down the road, but I'd like to see us move this down the road about 30 more days while we get more information from Desert Park, because my understanding, they do have an MOU agreement with the racing people on the coast. And my understanding also, their racing people are coming up to Osoyoos to either finalize the deal or cancel the deal. So I think it'd be a little premature for us to make the decision at this time.
Can I ask Councillor King if there is money involved that might help alleviate these costs with the racing people coming up from the coast?
I guess anything's possible. I guess it's through the negotiations with Desert Park. But I understand there could be some funding available, possibly. That I don't know for sure. I'm saying we will make a decision, but I think it's just timing is an issue here, and I think it should be postponed maybe 30 days while we get more information from Desert Park.
Is there an imminent concern to deal with this at this point, or is that even a possibility to consider?
Well, I'm going to share a little bit of information with council and the public, which I've already shared with administration. This is my 50th report related to the building at Desert Park, and that's only since 2008. A number of those had to do, anything with CIREC, the Exhibition Society, doing a partnering agreement, doing the RV improvements, all that fun stuff. It's not an easy decision bringing something forward, but the state of the facility and the structure and all that, without spending a good chunk of money, is going to be difficult for the future. But I do understand Councillor King's information that he just brought forward. There could be some potential infrastructure money from the province. And I guess depending on how much funding or how much we can do with what we have now and that funding, if there was a way to meet the needs, not just for the Harness Racing DC or Desert Park Exhibition Society, but the community, to have this facility use it, that would be a really good thing. 30 days and the province giving us some money, I guess might be a start, but that would be, something to look at. Not saying this is a good or bad idea or whatever, but I know it's not an easy decision, but we really need to, move forward in a positive, proactive way. And yes, maybe not leave any of those stones unturned.
Thank you, Councillor King.
I guess, yeah, if this happens, if this could get past the delay 30 days and nothing does transpire with the horse racing people, I do support your recommendation of tearing it down.
Councillor Cheong.
Thank you. With RJC, did they indicate the time sensitivity as to when this the repairs would need to be made potentially, if the repairs would need to be made, or is it more of an open kind of timeline? Because, well, this building's been in this state for quite some time.
Yeah, Madam Mayor to Councillor Cheong. What they did say, if we didn't do the full repairs with everything inclusive now, the maximum amount of time would be 3 years. The first year, obviously, what the estimated cost was $137,000 or $140,000, which is something that is doable. Is just the fact that with we would actually do some of the, the immediate repairs, but we're still going to have some of the liability issues in terms of, it's still going to get worse if we until we do everything. The 3 year term would have been with the expectation that on the third, in 3 years that we would have all that the improvements completed. And we really don't know, what is going to be underneath. It's like when you do a roof on a building and you start tearing the shingles off and you don't have anything underneath. And then what do we do? But yeah.
I should have clarified my question. I mean, in terms of, do the near-term repairs need to be done within a certain time frame? Like if we were to delay it 30 days or 60 days, like would that cost escalates? Or like did they say that, if we were to wait 30 days, the condition continues to degrade, now the near-term localized stucco repair instead of 65 grand is now 80?
Probably, yes. Yeah. That would be the expectation. Just generally speaking, the facility right now, that is still wide open. We haven't done anything. We did spend the money, which was identified in the report on the report, the structural report, and the money that we actually put into our insurance claim, and that's it. So we are where we are. If 60 days go by, it'd be like anything else. Most quotes we get now are good for 30 days. Some were at one point just good for a week, because of the cost escalation. But I would assume that that amount would actually creep up for sure.
Thank you. Councillor Poturica.
And thank you, Richard, and through you, Director Davis. The current grandstand seating in the back, and I think there was some repairs that were done there subject as a result of a previous report, either the 2019 or 2009, 2015 report. Is there an opportunity or is there a possibility of relocate or be able to reuse or relocate the grandstands? Are they structurally attached to the building, or is something that could be separated from the building frame itself?
Yeah. So they are attached to the building. Back in the 2015, 2016, 2017, somewhere in and around there, we did look at, what the demolition costs at the time were 150,000 plus. We also looked at an option of just tearing down a portion of the building, meaning, keeping some of the facility intact and, like in order to keep the grandstand. The back wall of the second floor where the grandstand is got some damage as well. But there's an option, and I think that option would, if we went down that road, it would probably be as pricey or more expensive than to tear down the building.
Thank you.
Okay, go
If I
ahead,
can
and I will speak
My
after.
understanding though, on the front side, that one section's metal frame that could possibly be torn apart and moved and set back up. I mean, it might be attached at the back, but very loosely.
There is another set of bleachers adjacent to the big grandstand that are not. Yeah, and we did repair those as well. Yeah.
And those can be moved, correct? Yeah,
yep.
that's what I'm.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the fact that we have not only the new report, but we have one from Ecora in 2015 and Bevan Pritchard Mann in 2009. Looking at these, The exterior walls are in poor shape. There's water stains and holes on all different reports. And so I'm sure there are some people thinking, why have we left it this long? So there's just one sentence in the 2015 report that said the building is, there's a phase of repairs, but the building is substantial and of sufficiently adequate condition to warrant the repairs. So that's kind of why repairs have been done in the past. And I believe those repairs were done at the same time that the Vancouver, the exhibition, the groups came up and did the horse racing. Yeah. Was it? Okay. So yes, so that there was some work done on it there, and there was horse racing and betting and that kind of thing for a couple of years, and then that stopped. And it seems to be something that has slowed down all over the province. So that's partly why that these reports, they sort of give us the death knell right from the very first one that there's severe enough problems that this facility is not going to last forever. The fact that people say, well, why don't you just tear it down and build a new one, is definitely a lot more money than we could ever consider. But we have had some concerns given to us by local people who have live up close to the desert park, and they've seen what has gone on, and they watch the destruction when the winds come up and that type of thing. And we have heard from some local builders as well that are quite concerned about doing the repairs and having them last long enough that it's worthwhile spending the money. So I just thought I would throw in those things, but definitely this is a very comprehensive report. So we either need to decide on something now, or we need to consider leaving it for a month. As Councillor King, go
I'm
ahead.
only looking for a 30-day extension, not 60. I got no problem you coming back with this exact report. I do recommend, if it's not a positive comment within the next 30 days, that we proceed to tear it down. That's what I would support.
I'll second that motion. But as a further question, what infrastructure would be required for harness racing BC and groups of similar nature?
In order for, and from what I understand, in order for the Harness Racing BC to do their races and the sanctioned events, they would need a betting area, obviously for gaming. They also would need an area for judges, the finish line, and those kind of things. And there's obviously some other things that I'm not aware of that they would require. And you know, the grandstands for public viewing, those would be the biggest things really. Initially, when we spoke about you know, having Harness Racing BC become here, and it was a wonderful thing, and it is a wonderful thing. It would be a fantastic opportunity. You know, economically, we might be one of the very few places, you know, that could even offer that. It's just so hard. And if I was new here, I would probably come maybe with a lot less history and maybe a different attitude. But I look at this and you know, we have put some money into it not that long ago with the hopes of keeping it on and alive and moving forward. But you know, yeah, I think at the end of the day, if there was a greater demand and there was no facility, i.e. no grandstand or building, Harness Racing BC or even the town of Vesuvius, maybe in a partner agreement, would look at doing something to make that happen, like a small facility of sorts type of thing. But yeah, the stuff is there now.
Okay, thank you. I have one concern, and then Myers has. Councillor Bennett is online here because he's on holiday at the moment. Is it possible, because you said they need a place for bedding, is it possible to bring a trailer in with that type of facility, bedding inside it? Do they use that in other places?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I can't say for sure, but that was something
They
that
might.
was,
That's a
yeah,
possibility.
that is a possibility. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go to Councillor Bennett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have to agree with Councillor King. I think we should give this 30 days. And in that time, the association and the people that want to bring in the racehorse, they all see it that they have 30 days and council's looking potentially tearing it down. And if they can come up with a really good plan that convince council something different that we don't see, then that's fine. But if they don't, they're aware of what's happening. So I gives them 30 days to come up with any good suggestions or if they have any. That would be my feeling.
Thank you very much. The Councillor King's motion was seconded by Councillor Cheong already, so I think they agree with you. Am I correct? Now,
Just make one more comment.
and then both of you?
The
Okay.
stewards did use upstairs when they had ice racing, so there is a box up there at the finish line. They don't need underneath for bedding because they can't bring a trailer in, my understanding, for bedding and stuff. But I think the important thing is to remember too, if it was positive, simulcast would go around the world and put Osoyoos on a big international map.
Great.
Just trying to keep it positive in that regard. But again, it really comes down to what Desert Park and the BC Horsham come up with within the next 30 days to help make us our decision.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Poturica and then Councillor Cheong.
Thank you, Worship. Just for the comment, and understanding this comes from the root cause of what asset management is, and understanding this is a facility. This is a facility that's been around about 5 years beyond my life, but someone who used this facility quite a bit, especially prior to the opening of the Sonar Community Center, when that building was used quite heavily and for a lot more usage than we're seeing it now. And unfortunately, over time, as things have changed, as when Sonora opened, does a lot of that. We began, as we see with the number of our other facilities, there wasn't really a plan in place as to what happens next to these. And as these facilities have become deteriorating, and especially Desert Park, I think it's no surprise when it was built using, I believe, some remaining funds from hosting and by game or by after I think it was BC Winter or Summer Games or Winter Games. It was created, with the use of volunteers. It was created using very slim funds at a time, and the condition of the building just hasn't kept up to the environment it's in. Obviously, we see the moisture, we see the heat, we see the wind damage that's been caused over the years, the weathering on the outside of the surface. That should be no surprise that it's in the condition that it's in, with the limited use that we've seen there. I do support Councillor King's thoughts on allowing that 30 days at least to come forward with a suggestion. Realizing, council previously had given this building about a 7-year time frame, shelf life left. Knowing the conditions prior to what we're dealing with now, I would, at least do that to allow some time at least to come forward with some options. At least as we know this summer, there is some good demand for the facility, especially on the outside of the facility. And how can we accommodate that, in terms of seating, in terms of facilities? What does that look like moving forward? But my concern is, for us to even put in, let's say the $2 million or $2 million plus, to help keep that building going for, what is a max of 7 years. And we're looking probably, at this point, probably a year before we're even in a situation where that building is restored to a near renewal or full renewal. It is really, we're beyond the borrowed time mark on this, but I do support us allowing a 30-day option here for at least to move forward, determine what needs to be in place in order for these events to take place successfully, and try and accommodate those. With the realization that, I think the time is well beyond done on this building itself. And that's all I have to say on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cheong.
Thank you. This is an opportunity where, it's in our strategic priorities to look into a multi-purpose building. And the more user groups that we can gather, the more potential grant funding opportunities there are, the better bang for a buck for a new facility. So the last thing we want to do is to turn away any potential groups that may be interested. With that said, the Desert Park building is far past its usable life. So with the 30 days, I'm hoping we find a compromise where potentially, harness racing BC could bring in some temporary infrastructure that can serve as a area for betting, maybe some temporary bleachers, knowing full well it's interim, and we can create that case to invest more monies into a new building, which would then line up with our parks master plan and the greater vision of how we want to phase our infrastructure and asset management moving forward. So I think that adds a bit more clarity as to our thought process, or at least mine. But we have a motion that's been seconded, and
Thank you, Madam. Just sidebar, Mr. Davis, have you had any contact with the other people from Vancouver with cricket?
No, we actually haven't, but we have time set up to meet to review, generally speaking. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay, could we, Mrs. Coulson, do you have the motion down that Councillor King and Councillor Cheong have? Yes.
I didn't want to interrupt that area, but I'm just wondering if 30 days is sufficient. And the only reason I say that is I know we received something from Desert Park Exhibition Society and also from Harness Racing to the postpone. But was 30 days an ask there, or is it?
Councillor King, you were the one that brought this up. Can you answer that?
I guess I would hope 30 days is enough. I mean, I understand the people from the coast are coming up to talk to Desert Park within 2 weeks. So whether that finalizes, I have no idea.
So the motion is, do you have it written down, Mrs. Coulson, or would you like us to repeat? Okay, yes. Can you turn your, thanks.
Oops, sorry, I shut it off. That council postpone their consideration of the Desert Park structural assessment 30 days pending further information from Desert Park Exhibition Society and Harness Racing BC. Yes, okay.
And it was moved and seconded. I will ask for the vote. All in favor? Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Good points brought up by everybody, and thank you for all the work that you've put into it, Director Davis. It's been, we hope that we don't have to go past maybe a 51st time for you to do a report. Okay. The next thing on the agenda is the grant application, Community Emergency Preparedness Fund. Would that be Mrs. Coulson? Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Emergency Operations Center, the EOC grant application, is a funding opportunity that SOAS has been taking advantage of annually for about 5 years. As we work jointly with the RDOS to respond to events requiring the activation of an EOC, we're again submitting a joint application for the region and are very pleased to welcome the SOAS Indian Band as a partner on this application. The total grant application for the region is in the amount of $210,000 for the year, and this year's focus will be on supporting service contracts to staff, to extending them, enhancements to the EOC radio system, new AV equipment, and regional training exercises. And council's support of the grant is requested today.
Thank you. So does anybody? I'm
Well,
taking him first.
I'm going to move option 1.
Thank you. Are you seconding it?
Yeah, with a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I support number 1. When you mentioned the OIB, did they have a separate agreement or are they just kind of tied in with us?
They're just joining in with the region.
So that includes, that's the recommendation, and that is the RDOS is authorized to receive and manage the grant funding on behalf of the town of Vesuvius.
Yes.
That's part of it too. Okay,
Take one motion for that.
yes. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you very much. That's carried. Okay, and the next is Mrs. Coulson, the appointment of election officers.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. All municipalities and regional districts in the province will be conducting general local election on October 17th, 2026. The Local Government Act requires that council appoint a chief and a deputy chief election officer to administer the election. In most municipalities, it is the corporate officer and the deputy corporate officer that assume those roles. I do want to address very briefly that there is sometimes a perception of a conflict of interest in having an officer of the corporation conduct the elections. So I want to mention that there are statutes and policies in place that protect the integrity of the process in the form of codes of conduct and for both elected officials and staff, and a sworn oath required on the part of all election staff actually that are involved. In the case of the chief election officer, it would be required for me to have an oath sworn in front of a notary or a commissioner for taking oaths, and that is to protect the integrity of the election process. So the recommendation to council today is to appoint the corporate officer and deputy corporate officer as the chief election officer and deputy chief election officer respectively to conduct the SOS 2026 election.
Thank you very much. Council, yes.
Move option one.
Seconder,
With the
okay.
question.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Director Coulson, you wear many hats. Are we confident that we have the capacity to perform the roles in the full, I guess, responsibilities that are required?
Absolutely. We
Okay.
will make it happen.
Excellent.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. And so I will call the question. All in favor? Thank you very much. That is unanimous. And Mrs. Coulson, you're up again, that council adopt the council indemnity bylaw amendment bylaw 1345.03 2026. Could you like to speak to that, please?
Sure, Councillor, thank you, or Mayor, thank you. Just very briefly, council indemnity bylaw 1345.03 provides election officials compensation for travel time to and from meetings and conferences, in addition to being compensated for their time at the meetings and conferences. Council approved first through third readings of this amendment bylaw on January 27th, and today we're looking for adoption.
Thank you very much. We have been through this before, so we have talked about it. Councillor King, are you?
Yeah, I'll move it. I'm not on the list, so I'll move it.
You're not on the list? Why are you not on the list?
I didn't go. Didn't go. He's traveling.
Oh, he wasn't here. Is that why? Okay. So you're moving it. Is somebody seconding it? Thank you. Councillor Cheong is seconding that. Are there any questions? No, I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you very much. And we will now go back to reports from committees and the Committee of the Whole. So from the Committee of the Whole meeting of February the 10th, that was this morning, that council received the report and presentation by Urban Systems Ltd as a status update for the Transportation Master Plan project. And no, we'll do that one first. Could we have Councillor Poturica, Councillor Cheong, all in favor? Thank you. And from the Committee of the Whole this morning, that the committee received the Community Services fourth quarter report for information. Councillor Poturica, Councillor Cheong, all in favor. Thank you. Those are carried. All right, we will now go on to the CAO report, and in the CAO's absence, we will ask Mrs. Coulson to give the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. It was hard for me to decide on what things to report on because the staff in all departments are working so hard, but I will just highlight a couple of things from each department that are currently or recently taken place. In community services, a second round of community and RMI funding has been advertised, and the deadline is February 27th, 2026 for anybody who's interested in applying. Families Day Skate is planned for February 16th from noon until 2. And the Osoyoos Curling Club's Ladies Bonspiel is taking place on February 13th to 15th. In corporate planning and development services, bylaw officers are working right now, making arrangements for proactive cleanup of repeat unsightly properties and acting very promptly on a couple of new unsightly complaints we have had. As I reported in the last quarterly report, unsightly properties are kind of topping the list of things that we're dealing with in the bylaw area right now. The survey on the use of metal storage containers in residential zones has now closed. 384 people took part in the survey, and 72% of the respondents did not feel that they supported metal storage containers being allowed on properties zoned as residential. A lot of great comments were received with that survey, and we really appreciate people letting us know what their views are. 3 new business licenses have been approved since the last council meeting. The View on 87th, which is a B&B, Rise Auto Glass, and STL Vacation Home, which is a short-term rental. In financial services, the annual audit is going to be starting in March 2026. Utility invoicing is planned for mailed out mid-February, and I believe that has just gone out. In the fire department, since the last CAO report, 33 fire inspections have been completed, and fire public education was provided to a total of 45 youth from daycare to high school ages. Finally, but last but not least, operational services has been out there very busy. So I'm just going to mention a couple of the things they've been working on. The town brought in a contractor to repair a hole in cell 2 of the lagoons. And when they were on site, they found 2 additional holes, and all have now been repaired. And a new kiosk was installed at the Blue Blinker Magnolia lift station on January 23rd, and the lift station is now back in service.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Coulson. Could we please have a motion to receive the report for information? Councillor Poturica, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. And now we will look at council reports, and Councillor Poturica, you're first.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not too much here other than on the last Tuesday I attended the finance committee for Destination. So yes, it's my committee assignment for them this year. Obviously, all signs point to we had a very busy visitor season last year, and I know once things wrap up that those financials for the year will be reported to council later this year. And on last Wednesday, I attended the Suze Lakeview Cemetery Master Plan engagement session at Sonora Center. It was good to see some residents come out. I know it's a good response in the surveys there, identifying both future needs as well as opportunities to enhance the facilities as they are right now. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended the Community Service Committee last Tuesday. We mainly went over what was accomplished over the last year. And with Mr. Davis, we kind of looked at how we're moving forward, which I think was part of his report earlier, which you read earlier. And I just heard today that the fence went up around the splash park. So I think there's going to be a lot of parents very happy with that. Thank you.
Councillor Bennett, do you have a report today?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing to report today.
Thank you. Enjoy your holiday.
Thank you.
Councillor Cheong.
Not much to report, just ecstatic about that fence, and thank you staff and thank you council for supporting. We've started we had our first meeting for Cities Beach Volleyball. I know it's a little early, but It's starting to get a little exciting. But yeah, it's been pretty quiet so far. So that's my report.
Thank you. Okay, I've been involved with a couple of meetings over the last couple of weeks. One was ETSI Economic Trust of the Southern Interior. I'm on the committee to review board policy. And I bet we've had 3 meetings about this, and getting the wording right and including everything in it takes quite a bit of time. We're still working on it. I was also at the Okanagan Basin Water Board meeting on February the 3rd. At this time of year, we hold the meetings online. For in the good weather, we meet in person up and down the valley. We had a very good speaker that we've heard before and often have, and that would be Lisa Scott from OASIS, the Invasive Species Society, talking about don't move a muscle. It was reported at that time that by James Litley, who is on staff at OBWB, that 3 mussel-fouled boats that were picked up in at the border, not necessarily our border, but other ones, were headed to the Okanagan. And so it's really, really important. We've been saying this for years that we need to make sure that we secure funding and regulatory safeguards to protect the Okanagan from, the mussels, because they're getting closer and closer to us in other states and certainly in parts of Canada. So we're really trying to work on that. There was 27,100 watercraft that were inspected at the border crossings, and 170 decontaminations. And quite often we have the conservation officer has his truck and the tanks at the border, and they are very good at the Osoyoos border crossing and contacting conservation officers if they have a concern about a boat that might come across the border. And if they have any concerns at all, they will take the boat off the lot or off the road for 30 days while they do a decontamination and make sure that that there aren't any of the little devils, the zebra quagga mussels, hiding, because in fact that did happen. They decontaminated a boat and then found that one was stuck in a screw somewhere that didn't catch the first time. So really important that we keep working on that. And I also heard about the rototilling for Osoyoos Lake. We were a little late last year because the rototiller couldn't get in at the marina. And so they stayed a little bit longer to rototill. And they've promised me at the meeting that they would get on Osoyoos Lake in the early spring. So I tried to nail that down, but they did say it would be by March, and they will be down here provided we can ensure that they can get off and on the lake. And we will be looking forward to that. So they will contact operations to make sure that they get that set up properly quite soon. I was also at the cemetery meeting last week, and there are forms that you can fill out to answer questions on what you see as the anticipated needs at the cemetery, and certainly to give your input on that. So if you don't have one of those and you'd like to do that, I don't know whether you can do it online, but you can, and there's also forms here at Town Hall, and I believe over at the Sonora Center. I think they're available in several places. So please have a look at that if you're interested in commenting. And I want to say that that the market, the one that's normally out here in the summertime, it is being held this Saturday, Valentine's Day, at Watermark in their meeting room. So if you need eggs or jams or teas or pickles or anything, they've got it all. So come down between 10 and 2 down there and shop, which are all local producers. And, and I was going to mention the weather as well. Of course, you will notice that the lake level which is always on the town website at the very top. If you go on the main page, it says lake levels and you can click on that. That's the IJC, International Joint Commission, has that on there. And the lake level is just above 909 feet. And it's done, it's feet because it's measured at the Zozo Dam in the States. And that is pretty low. Normally, 909 is the lowest that it's let go, but sometimes you can't quite control it. So if you notice that the lake level is quite low, that's why. And we're certainly hoping for snow up in the hills. It was up here on our hills quite recently the other day, and by the end of the day, it had melted. That's not the anticipated outcome we want. We want the snow to stay up there and have it melt slowly so that we don't get floods and we don't get drought. But the snowpack up in the hills is lessening right now, and it's not a good thought. So pray for rain and snow. And I've been on a working group with the collaborative leadership table on ecosystems. I'm part of that group too, and next week I will be going to a meeting up in Vernon, Coldstream, where we will look at all of this. We continue to work on it, all the mayors in the Okanagan and the Similkameen. So that's all that I had today, and so I will ask for,
Can I make a note?
oh, yes, you
Comment.
can.
Thank you, Member. For Mr. Madison, if they're going to do a rotor tilling here shortly, I'd really emphasize that they do Lions Park because we are putting a platform down there. And I know there's lots of weeds there. So if you can focus on that area, it would really help. Thank you.
We're not putting a platform at Lions Park this time. That's, yeah, Legion Beach. Well, that's where they deposit the milfoil. And you can, yeah, on the corner there. Sure, no problem. Okay, thank you.
Motion to terminate.
Seconded by Councillor King. All in favor?